Hello everyone, welcome to Prakash IT. So in this tutorial, we are going to learn a new topic called bean auto-wiring. So this is a continuation video to Spring Framework. In this video, we are going to study about bean auto-wiring. And before jumping into the content, let me explain what we are going to discuss as part of today's video. So in this video, we are going to cover what do you mean by bean auto-wiring, how to enable auto-wiring while working with Spring Framework. So I can say I have already explained. If you go through my previous video, you will find we have written our dependent class and the target class. So we are injecting the object. So we are writing one config file, that is application context.xml file, where we are writing the bean definition, how we are going to inject the beans for the dependent class object into the target class bean. So how we are injecting, we are providing all the things, all the setups, all the configurations over there. So so that IOC container will pick the configuration from the application context file and will inject accordingly. So here what we are going to learn is what is bean auto-wiring, how we are going to enable auto-wiring. So what is happening when we are writing the configuration file, what does it mean, and what is the upgrade, how we are going to work with auto-wiring. Today in today's topics we are going to learn that. So what makes the difference working previously and how we are going to work now, that we are going to see as part of today's video. So after we got some idea to work with auto wiring, how by default, we'll see by going forward. I will explain by default what is the feature and how we can enable auto wiring, how what is the process, how many types of modes are there. Okay, one by one I am going to explain in this video. So the next thing is, if we are declaring enabling the auto, by default the auto wiring is off. Okay, so we as a developer, we are explicitly configuring the bean definition inside the application context.xml file. But here we are going to enable auto wiring. If you are enabling auto wiring, then how we can achieve that? And if you are enabling auto wiring, and which bean we need to enable that auto wiring? Okay, that we are going to see as part of today's video. And once this part is done, then we'll see how many kinds of, like, what is auto wiring mode, how many types of modes are there, how many modes are there, and what are they, and how we are going to use the mode. Okay, and finally we are going to see what when we are working with the mode, if any ambiguity we find. I will explain when will the ambiguity and how we are going to resolve that ambiguity while working with the auto wiring mode. Okay, so without wasting much time, let's get started. Okay, what do we mean by auto wiring? Auto wiring is the process of injecting dependent object into the target object, right? We are writing dependent bean definitions and target bean definition inside the application context xml file. Okay, so there we are writing the value tag, we are writing the ref tag. While injecting the primitive type, we are writing the value tag. I have already discussed as part of my, I think, first or second video, I have explained. If you have not gone through that video, then I will recommend, please go through that video. I will give the link in the description, so you can go over the video before understanding this one. Okay, if you have not gone through that, how we are injecting the um, beans. Okay, so here, so our concept is like, what do you mean by bean auto wiring? It is the process of injecting the dependent bean into the target bean. So what we are going to do, we are not going to inject, we are not going to write. What we are writing as part of array, as part of value, for injecting the primitive type, we are writing value tag, and for injecting the object type, then we are writing the ref tag. That we are not going to do. Here what we will do, we will only declare the bean definition. What is the dependent, what is the target class, that we are going to only write. Then we will leave the rest of the things to IOC container. IOC container will automatically detect what needs to be done next. How the beans, what we are configured as part of application.context, context.xml file, how the beans should be injected. That is the job of the IOC container. That wiring means injecting. So what we are doing, we are configuring the bean IOC container, injecting them before. But now what we are going to do is, like, we will provide only the bean definition. We will left the IOC container will, we will find what needs to be done and how the injection will happen. That is the job of the IOC container. What we will do, we will only provide how it is going to be auto wire. That configuration we need to specify somewhere, like in the application context, something we need to specify. That is that wiring of the beans called bean auto wiring. Okay, automatically that will be detected by the IOC container. I will explain through examples, so don't worry. So let's understand this, the theoretical concepts first. The first, understand the concept, what it is exactly. What do you mean by auto wiring? Okay, I hope you have got some basic idea what is auto wiring. The process of injecting the dependent class into the target class bean by the container IOC container automatically. That is what is called bean auto wiring. Okay, then by default the bean auto wiring is, so if you don't provide the auto wiring, IOC container should take care of the auto wiring of the dependent and the target bean. Okay, so by default the auto wiring is off. So programmer should provide the auto wiring things in the application context.xml file, so that IOC container will detect how to inject the beans. Okay, that part will IOC will take care, but we need to configure. By default the auto will be off, so programmer need to make it on. Okay, so then let me then we'll know how many ways we can manage the dependencies. So dependencies, actually, in my previous video I have already told that whenever we are injecting the beans, we are writing the beans definitions, as well as we are providing how it is going to be inject. That is manually we are writing, and here we are telling the IOC container to inject. But here what we are going to, two things, we are manually we are going to inject, to tell the IOC container to will inject, and otherwise we will provide, either we need to declare the dependency between the beans manually, or we need to enable auto wiring. There are two things, either we will declare the dependency between the beans by means of value tag or ref tag. That is the one thing manually we are doing. But here the second approach is we need to enable auto wiring. That is the today's topics that we are going to see. Okay, there are two things how we can manage the dependency. I have explained. Okay, Then how to enable auto wiring? If you are going to work with auto wiring, then we need to enable the auto wiring. How we can achieve that? So for that we have a tag called AutoWire. AutoWire is equal to mode of wiring. Mode of wiring I have written, that means what mode we are going to work. There are several modes. While working with the Spring application, the dependent of bin object will be injected into the target by means of mode. That modes may be vary. It may be, I will tell, there are basically there are four kinds of modes are there: byName, byType, constructor, and auto detect. I will explain, but one of the mode we are going to provide, well, whenever we are going to work with this one, so we are going to provide auto wire mode is equal to something, one of the mode we are going to provide. I will explain through example, but just understand what is what. Okay, so if we are enabling auto wiring, then on which bin we have two kinds of bin, one is dependent, one is target class. Okay, target class bin. Then on which bin we are going to write the auto wire, or if we are enabling the auto wire mode, then on which bin we are going to write that. Okay, that is a question. So the bin for which we want IOC container to identify the bin dependencies and inject them automatically. Okay, on that definition, bin definition, we are going to write the AutoWire bin. Okay, AutoWire things we are going to write. Okay, on which of bin definition the IOC container should inject. On that, we are going to write the AutoWire. Okay, I'll explain through examples. Okay, then what is AutoWire mode? So we are telling to the IOC container how to identify the dependency and how to inject the dependency into the target class by using the AutoWire mode. We will specify the AutoWire mode in name or by type or constructor something. We will specify. That means we are telling the IOC container, hey container, you identify the dependency and inject the dependency accordingly based on our auto wiring what we have specified. Okay, so IOC container will go and inject the dependency. Okay, so mode indicates what? Mode indicates what means? Mode means I have already told there are several modes. One of the mode we are going to provide while injecting the objects or injecting the beans. Okay, so mode indicates how to identify the dependent bin definition to be injected. Okay, how it is going to be injected and how to inject it, like by setter or constructor. Okay, so finally we reach the mode. How many modes are there? There are basically four modes. Okay, the first one is by name, second by type, third constructor, and fourth one is auto detect, which is deprecated. So we are going to see by name, by type, and constructor. Okay, so let's see. First let's see by name. Okay, by name, while working with the by name, then how we are going to work with the by name AutoWire. Okay, so by name IOC container will detect the programmer has specified the by name AutoWire by name mode of auto wiring. So IOC container will detect that, and an IOC container will inject the dependent bin via setter injection. Okay, so if the programmer will specify the by name, the AutoWire principle is by name or AutoWire mode is by name, then IOC container will detect that, and IOC container is going to inject the dependent bin into the target bin via setter injection. Okay, and the dependent object is identified with the attribute name. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are going to define only the bin definition. We are not going to write how the injection will happen. That injection will be done by the IOC container. So how IOC container will going to do that? So once IOC container will see the mode is given that by name. That means IOC container will detect the bean based on the bean ID based on the attribute name of the target class. The target class will have attribute and the bean ID and the attribute name. If that matches, then what the IOC container is going to do? IOC container will inject the dependent object into the target class. In simple word, just remember, we will define the bean definition, that is clear. Then next thing is like in the target class we are writing the attribute, the bean id and the attribute name of the attribute name that is specified over the target class, that the IOC container will match. If that matches, then it will IOC container will do the injection. Okay, I hope this is clear, everybody. Okay, if there is a bean definition available with matching bean id, then IOC container going to inject. Okay, I have already discussed that thing. Just see, I will explain theoretically, then I will jump into the program. Okay, if you understand the concept, then program is nothing. First you have to understand the concept, then jump into the coding. Okay, then by type means we are specifying the mode is by type. That means IOC container will check the whenever we are writing the bean, what we are doing, bean id is so and so, class is so and so. Okay, we are writing, right? So by name it got the bean id with the target class attribute name. Clear? So but in case of by type, what it is going to do, the bean the type is, if the type is uh, the class type. Okay, if IOC content, the injection will happen in case of by name and by type setter injection. But here the difference is the type. What is the type? Like, right? IOC container identifies the dependent bean based on the attribute type. Okay, so the bean, how IOC container is going to identify based on the attribute type, the target class attribute type. Okay, so we are writing the target class attribute. For example, I can write employee class is having the address attribute, the type is address. Okay, so if the attribute IOC container is going to detect via attribute type, that means the address is the type. Okay, I'll explain through example. Don't worry if you are getting confusion. Okay, then if there is a matching bean definition, same class type, matching bean definition, the bean we are declaring and the type is, if it is matching, then what it will do, it will IOC container will inject via setter injection. That is clear. Okay, and we'll see through example. I will explain the ambiguity. For example, if we have okay, let me so far what I have discussed, let me jump into the coding. Okay, so here what I have done is I have a employee class and having property employee id, employee name and address. So to make I have already done this example many times, since I have done from the scratch before. So here in this video, what I'm explaining, we have the from the for the existing code we have. Okay, okay, so we have employee class which is employee id, employee name and address. That employee id, employee name and address we are going to inject into the employee. Okay, that is the thing. And address is having lane name and zip code. These are the two things we have. Okay, so what I have done, I have set the setter for that and the toString and for the address. And let's go to the application things, application context. So what we are doing here, the previously what we are doing, we have written that bean definitions, right? The address bean, having two property, right? This is since this is primitive, I have written the value tag. Okay, and this is the employee. In the employee we are going to inject the primitive type as well as the ref type. Okay, so here what we are going to do, instead of writing the ref, what we are going to do, we are going to inject it via mode. Okay, what we are going to do, so these things let me comment this out. Okay, okay, let me uncomment, and let me run this to show you just what it is giving the output. Okay, so we have let me show, this is the bin we have configured len 1 and this is 101 Prakash. So let me run this. See, we have seen that the employee ID, employee name, and address got injected into the this to the employee. Okay, so what we are going to do, let me comment this property. Okay, we are going to inject via byName. First is byName. So what we are going to do, we are going to write Autowire. Okay, Autowire equal to byName. Okay, so byName I have written byName. ByName means the bean ID, it will the employee, it is going to inject by name. Okay, so by name is address property, employee is having attribute is address. This is the only things I am going to inject here by name. Okay, so this is address is the property name is address. Okay, here by name means it will go to bean ID is address, and address property is address, I mean the attribute name is address. So this is matches, so it will inject based on the attribute name. This thing is clear by name. Okay, okay, let me run this. Okay, we are getting the same result, is not it? Okay, is by name is working. Okay, so since the bin ID and the attribute name is matches, so it injects based on the name. Based on the name it injects, the IOC container injects the dependent bin into the target bin. Okay, this part is clear. Okay, then let me change into uh, by type. By type means what? I have already told. By type means the class type. Class type is employee. By type means the type is what? Address. The type means this one, address is the type. This address attribute is having type is address. So based on the type, it is going to IOC container is going to inject. Okay, let me run this also as well. I've changed to Autowire mode is equal to, this is the mode we are specifying. So by type also it is going to inject by a setter. Okay, it is injecting. Okay, so I have also told, if for the by type, if we have two beans having same type is address. Let me write that code so that you'll have the better understanding. Okay, by type address, I have made it to address 1. Okay, address address 2, and this is spring len 2, and let it make 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so I have added one more bin to it. So IOC we have specified by type. So what IOC container will do? IOC container is going to inject the beans based on the type. Type is address. The IOC container, whenever we will start this application, IOC container will find two beans, address 1 and address 2, address and address 2, two beans of the type is same. So here, which bin is going to inject by IOC container? Address or address 2? Confused? Okay, So here IOC container also will get the confusion, means will get the ambiguity. So no beans will be injected. Let me run this. What is the output we are going to get? IOC container will get the ambiguity here, because the same both are having two same types. So we got the error immediately. So what is the error? Error creating bean with name employee define the class path ratio. This unsatisfied. Okay, nested exception is no unique bean definition exception. Okay, so qualifying bean type is qualifying. Which is the qualifying bean? Qualifying bean type is address. Okay, address expected single matching. The IOC content expecting single matching bean but found two. Why? Because we have specified address and address two. These two beans we have specified. IOC container got the confusion which bean to inject. In order to overcome this issue, what Spring people has done, Spring people have provided just index, just do one thing, which bean you want to inject. Write AutoWire candidate. AutoWire candidate equal to true. Okay, AutoWire candidate 2 means the IOC container is going to inject the address 2. Okay, this 2 means this one. Okay, let me run this. Okay, yes, yes, the two things. Okay, me let me write. Okay, I have okay, for this bin I have not specified. Let me write AutoWire candidate equal to false. This we don't want. This should not be injected. Only this candidate address 2 is going to be injected. So let me run that. Okay, see, address 2, spring len 2, and zip code, this one, this is injected. I hope this is clear. Okay, let me make it this one to true and this one to false. Okay, this means we are telling to uh, inject the dependent into the target by type. IOC container will find, whenever we start the application, IOC container will find that the injection should be happen by type. So IOC container will find there are two matching beans of type same address. Okay, the property is address, type is address. So application container, IOC container will found two beans having the same type. So which one to inject? The ISO container will see AutoWire candidate equal to. That means this bin ISO container is going to inject. That means we should get spring len 1 and value is 1 2 3 4 5. This one we should get. Okay, let's see what we will get. Okay, we got the spring len 1 and zip code 1 2 3 4. Okay, that means whenever we are on which bin we are providing the AutoWire candidate true, that bin IOC container is detecting and injecting. Okay, let me show you one scenario. For example, let me write one more bin. This is address 3. Let me write address 3, and this is the len 3, and let me write 3 4 5 6. Okay, something dummy value. Okay, so if I write false and here true, which bin is going to inject? This first bin, address and len 1. Okay, let me run this. Going to inject the len 1. If I make it to false and make it this 3 to true, then if I run that, then which the bin 3 is going to inject. Okay, so len 3. That means on which bin we are writing the primary equal to true, then it is injecting that bin. Okay, that's fine. So if we have multiple bin, then multiple times we have to write auto candidate is equal to false, the bin which we don't want to participate as part of injection. Okay, instead of that writing multiple times, what instead of that what we can write, we have one beautiful concept called primary. So for example, we want this first bin is we are going to inject. So primary equal to true means this is the bin qualified for injection. We are telling to the IOC container, hey IOC container, don't inject other bins. We have not specified auto where candidate equal to true. We will remove that. Instead of writing on every bin, what we are going to tell to the IOC container is primary equal to true. Please inject this bin only to the IOC to the target. Okay, let me run this. What we are going to get? Lane 1. Lane 1 is successful injecting. Okay, so let me write this bin on bin address, these things. So we have not specified anything. We have specified primary equal to true on bin address 3. So it should inject address 3. Okay, lane 3. Okay, let me run that. Okay, lane 3. I hope this concept is clear to everybody because I have shown multiple times. Okay, so what I have explained, whenever the spring IOC container will find the same type, then spring will decide based on the attribute primary equal to true. We can achieve by we can write candidate auto candidate equal to false and auto candidate equal to true, whichever we want to inject. Instead of that, we can write one thing primary equal to true. That this is more what I can say, specific one. Right, instead of writing multiple times, this is the best approach I can say. We can specify primary equal to true. I hope this is clear to everybody. We got the ambiguity problem. To resolve the ambiguity problem, we have specified the primary equal to attribute on the bin which we want to inject. Okay, I hope this is clear to everybody. Okay, so by type also I have told, and how to resolve the ambiguity I have already explained through codes. So there is nothing. True false I have already explained. Which bin should qualify for injection? So how to resolve that I have also told. Primary equal to true instead of auto candidate false. Okay, that's all. That's it for this video. I think this video is pretty much um, everybody, I think everybody should understand this concept. If anything, like anybody have any doubts or something, uh, he or she can let me know in the comment section so that I will address in the upcoming video. Okay, thank you for watching. If you like then my video, then please comment, do like and share and subscribe.